Stay tuned if you want to know what is the secret ingredient for high-performing teams. Spoiler alert, it's trust. Without it, collaboration stalls, innovation dies, and execution slows to a crawl. But with it, teams move faster, adapt better, and deliver great results. So keep posted to learn how to build real trust and drive performance. Let's dive in.
Hi Karen.
Hi Stefan.
How are you today?
I'm fine. What about you?
I'm good. I'm filled with food. That's very good.
How is your energy after a lunch break?
I have energy for this podcast and then it will go down.
All right.
I'm here now. And it's also a topic I love, trust. So I think the energy will become much higher now. How about you?
You know what I did 2 days ago? I allowed myself to have a break to refill myself and really go outside the building into fresh air, into the sunshine, and just have a walk for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Which of course we all know in our brains, yeah, of course it's recharging you, but if we're in the middle of work, are we really doing it? Or are we holding ourselves back?
Yeah.
And normally I would always hold myself back, but I don't know why. I just said, okay, let's just do it. And afterwards, my mood was so much better.
So you're suggesting we should do a 15 minutes walk after this podcast?
I suggest, if you feel that, okay, the energy is low after this session,
okay, let's do it.
Have a little walk.
Very good, very good. No, but it's also, when we talk about trust, I think this is the first step, right, between two team members, is to establish this level of trust that you can talk about how you're feeling at this point in time. Like, am I tired? Am I sad about something? I mean, just yesterday I had a coaching session and the person was super tired and a little bit sad. And I said, hey, if we need room to give you space for this, please just share everything. And for me, it was very, first of all, it built trust on my side, but hopefully also it built trust on this person's side because she could open up.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the workshop we did last year. In the middle of summer, it was a really hot location as well to do the workshop. And we asked the people to indicate their energy level on a slider. So, which was really helpful because we saw then, okay, the energy is really declining. We need a break now, obviously, here to get all the people to come with us and leave no one behind.
It's also a scheduling thing. If you work with your team and yourself, sometimes we tend to put we fill every slot in our calendar, so we don't even have the flexibility to say, hey, let's take a break. Let's take a break together. Let's talk about something else, right? So it's good that we address that as well with our team members. That's one of the aspects of trust, right? So open up, how do we feel, make ourselves vulnerable, and go from there. Yeah. What else can we say about trust? What else? What is trust for you?
Well, for me, it's really when I work with someone, I have to trust in them from the beginning. It's not something that the other person is earning. It's something I have to give them from the beginning, and I have to expect the best in what they do instead of fearing the worst that will come out of it.
Yeah.
Of course, it can happen that you get disappointed, that people break your trust, but then you're wiser, of course. But I think the costs are too high not to start with trust.
That's true. I always have to think about a private example. I travel a lot, and I have the same mentality to when I talk to people, I want to give them the highest volume of trust I can have because they deserve it, right? But then when you travel, sometimes you have people who use that trust, for example, on the street, if they want to sell you something. So I almost when we talk about this, I feel we need to give a little bit of correction to say, yes, you should go to people and you should trust them, but you should also trust your intuition and you need to find out when this is used against you, right?
Yes.
Because this is this aspirational thing we put when we talk about new work or future of work. People positivity, we talk about these things that we want to approach people with a high level of trust, which is true, but then also if we have some intuition that is misused, we should go for it, right?
Yeah, and I think a common pitfall as well is if we talk about trusting people, then it means that we give everyone the same say in things, the same vote in decisions. And I think that's one of the common pitfalls which we associate with new work, is that, okay, we're democratizing everything. We're democratizing decision making, and that means we open up the decision to do whatever to the entire group, and everyone gets the same vote, and then we'll go with the majority of votes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you have to say, no, that's not how it is meant. What we mean is every one of us has different strengths and capabilities. And some of us have a better feeling and intuition when it comes to taking certain decisions. And we should give these people a higher vote than others. Or say, okay, I mean, this is so out of the area of control that I could decide on that. I will just step back. I don't have a vote in that. Mm-hmm. I will leave it up to you guys who know the area and who can really make a wise decision, instead of hiding behind democratic principles and assuming that we will get to a better place if we give everyone the same vote in everything.
It's the vote, but it's also the tendency that we have to involve everyone, and everyone has to be involved. Everyone has to be informed. But I think the decision needs to move to the person, as you said, with the good intuition, also with the competence, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where then again trust comes in, because you have to be open about what do you know, what you don't know, where is your skills. So when you assign tasks or work packages within the team, and you don't know this, you might assign it to the wrong person in the beginning, or to the person who is not feeling most capable of doing it, maybe not the wrong person.
Yeah, I think really an enabler for trust is we need to know each other. We need to know the people really that we're dealing with, that we're working with. So for a team to be really good and to be strong, they need to know each other. I need to know the stories of the people. I need to know what motivates them, what are their goals, what do they want to be included, where do they see their own strengths, mm-hmm. and what is something that they're not good at. And if I know that, then I can see, okay, as a team we have to go there, who can contribute what. Mm-hmm. It's like when you're playing a board game, which is a multiplayer board game that you're doing together. You have to align on the tasks. It's
like
not
Andor, like we like to play.
Yeah, if we're playing that game, we really have to think about, okay, who has which capabilities, who has which armor or weapons on his board,
resources,
who can do what,
mm-hmm.
how do we leverage the strengths of everyone and the cards of everyone basically to get and reach the goal.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So you would say this is one, like knowing the team strength is one aspect of highly trustful teams, right?
Yes.
What else?
Agendas. I think often a factor of trust is if my gut says, I think there is a hidden agenda in the room, mm-hmm. then I don't trust the other person.
Yes.
Which in often cases it is true. So I think that's something which we need to talk about and break taboos as well, if we feel that, and talk openly about it. And it could well be that there is a hidden agenda, but in the moment that we make it obvious and not hidden anymore, we just break the power it has. It means that we can start collaborating better. It removes a hurdle.
And there's also a difference between having a hidden agenda because you have a personal objective and having a hidden agenda because there's political gains, for example. It can very well be that there's a person in the room who has an objective, and if they lay it out in front of the team because it's a valuable objective, maybe the team can help them even if it's outside of their circle of influence, if you know what I mean. Like,
do you have an example?
So hidden agenda, for example, we have a project team, and this person has 5 other departments to manage, and one of his hidden agenda would be that he has to bring the department forward, let's say another department, and you feel in the project that he's moving his decisions towards positioning this department, right? Because it's in his personal hidden agendas, his objectives.
Yeah.
If it's not addressed, people will think exactly what you just said. It's his hidden agenda. He's not really in the focus of the project. But if you say, is this now a project goal? Is this a goal which you have for your department? We love to help you address this. But how is it different? You start to bring it to the forefront of the people, and you can also make a differentiation if how do we handle this objective this person has? You see what I mean? So make the hidden agenda a clear agenda for everyone, not everything, but that's what I'm seeing. There's another hidden agenda. It's like, how do I want to position myself in the company? Maybe something else. That's more like maybe a negative hidden agenda. I don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
So in Stephen Covey's Tree of Trust, he talks about intent. What is the intent of this person in the room? Do they have a generally good intent with us, with the team, or do they have not a bad intent but selfish maybe, right? So I guess it's this point, right? And
it's something that you really can't hide. So people have a gut feeling, and it's mostly correct. So don't think that you're wiser than them and can hide something away there. Yeah. So
and this is the part of where we look at the character of the person, right? So their intent, their integrity, do they do what they say? Do they stick to what they say? Do they consistently stick to what they say? Because if they say something now and the next day they say something else, we start to lose trust.
Yeah.
So besides the hidden agenda, it's maybe also this coherent speak of this person. Like there's always the same message, maybe in another form, maybe enriched with some new learnings, but the values stay the same, the principles stay the same, right? And if I go to this person, they don't forget what they just said yesterday, because that will immediately break trust.
Yeah, a caveat to that, of course, this does not mean that you cannot change your mind.
No.
Because you learn every day, and if you learn something new, of course you can revoke what you said earlier and change it. But I think, the crucial part is really state clearly what you think, why you're thinking it, and then stick to it. Yeah, don't change it depending on whom you talk to.
Exactly. That's what I mean with coherent. But also, when you change your mind, you can explain why you changed your mind.
Yeah.
And then it becomes integer and coherent again.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then other people can understand you. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for me, a factor of trust, which I always have this example of mind, is about capabilities. If someone is having, for example, I trust you 100% to manage our company financials because you're super good at this, right? Do I trust you to operate at my heart? Maybe not, because your capabilities on operating at the heart is maybe not as enhanced as managing financials, right? So this is a dimension I think it's sometimes overrated and sometimes overlooked. Like if I have someone who does something very well, we will start to trust them immediately. It can also be a bias, right?
Yeah. That's true because, if I say I trust someone, I trust them in different facets and on everything.
Different contexts.
Yeah, depending on capabilities,
And some capabilities, they will ripple through your responsibility area. So if you're always an organized person and you're doing a project well, maybe you can do a bigger project well as well. So you will carry this around and it will be part of your reputation if it's part of your nature.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think what we often see with new teams, for them, the first time, there are these phases, right? Like when a new team is formed and they're storming, they come and everyone comes with their own character. They try to form a unit, forming, storming, norming. Then they find their rules before they then start performing. And I think what we see is the circle stays the same, but you can shorten the time it takes to performing if you do this consciously. If you don't just let them come together and find their own way and their own struggle through it, but if you really accompany them through it and trigger the conversations they have to build trust, to get into alignment on critical aspects, to find their common ground and find how they want to operate, then you can be into performing much, much faster.
Do you have an example of the times you managed these big management teams where you said, okay, this is how I used specifically this topic and gave them basically leadership tasks to develop on this, so to make it on forefront of their mind?
What comes to my mind is that a company that they restructured themselves and they created a new department. And they were talking so much about, the services that they have to put out. And basically this was their form of how they fought in the storming part of the cycle. So basically, what I did was more come in and say, okay, ask the right questions and point it out. So for me, it looks like you are kind of stuck in the storming phase. Let's make it obvious what's happening here. So it's not how you think, it's all about the topic and all about what you're putting out. No, what is really happening here is a meta level above that you're trying to form as a team.
Exactly. I always have to think about the examples where we had been approached to produce a roadmap workshop for a client, and they were super excited to do a roadmap workshop, and then we talked about them, three of the team, and we started the workshop, and there was a high level of trust in the team, I think, because one person said, you know what, I don't know you guys well enough. We were put together in like recently, and we want to talk about like OKRs and we want to talk about roadmap, but who are you guys really? And then we could like intervene. I mean, it was not a one day kind of strength finder workshop because we had limited time, but at this moment I thought this was super nice for them to realize first that they are, as you say, in the storming phase, and they have to organize themselves first before they can go to the OKR, right?
Yeah.
And this was fascinating for me.
What's your opinion on trust building remotely versus being together in one room?
I think we have two opinions, which is good. I think being face to face always, like as a nature of being, is good for us as human beings. We want to be face to face, but once you have met once face to face, or once you have connected, I think you can also build trust remotely. But it's easier face to face, and it's not because of the topics you talk about. It's because of the presence in the room, because of the breaks, because of the side conversations you can have. And we've done this like multiple times, like online workshops. They work, they can be productive, but if you have the time, take the money, you should do it online. You should do it on site. Yeah. I think it's your opinion too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not so different. I think it's really crucial that in the beginning you meet someone face to face. I mean, we've seen that during COVID when there was no face to face. If you met new people, you created your picture of them just from looking at a screen.
Yes.
And the conversation, of course, was very much focused on the specific topic that you were discussing.
Exactly.
And then once COVID ended and it was possible to meet people back in the office, and then all of a sudden you saw the people and they had legs, then they became real kind of more for me, because you get another impression of them. It rounds the picture that you get, and you get the chance for just talking about other things, as you just said, talking about stuff that's not on the agenda, where you can really connect, where you see, we have similar hobbies, we live in a similar place or whatever, which then really is common ground and creates sympathies for each other.
I'm basically on the fence around these back to office policies, which you see all around America now, because people should go back to office. I feel it's somehow an instrument or a leftover of control versus trust. And when I talk to people, I feel it's better when you have a team. Like I had a team, it should have like days where people are in the office to connect. Like for example, let's say you have a team of 7 or 12 people, or 2 teams, and you have one day where everyone agrees, on Wednesday we will go to the office. The worst thing you could do is to go with your day-to-day agenda and do the online meetings you anyway have on the schedule. The best thing you can do is you can organize this informal lunch. You can organize the coffee with the colleague you always wanted to talk to. Like what I'm saying is like make the room that in the office that you have this face-to-face connections. As a leader, but also as a team member, use this wisely, right? Not to sit in a room. It's both is good, right? But what I see is that people say, we have to bring people back to the office, but that will not make them work together automatically. There needs still to be like a placeholder, an event, and it can be an informal one. I don't know if you think about it.
I think the important point that you mentioned here is the team decides.
Yeah.
It's the team that decides how they want to work together. It's the team then that says, oh, yeah, let's meet once or twice a week on these days in the office.
Exactly.
And I think what we see currently is mandatory office days set by the company, who say, for every one of you, we want you 50% in the office again, or whatever it might be. And what it does is just taking away people's agency and people's sense of being able to take control over their own lives. And that pisses people off massively and goes directly against what you want to achieve, which is people wanting to come together, wanting to see each other and benefiting from an exchange.
And you have this almost negative reverse consequence that people will say, okay, if I'm forced to go to the office, I will put on my headphones and work there. You know, like it's almost a resistance which is building. Not everyone, of course, but but it's a good point. Yeah,
I read recently about quiet protests against such policies, which is people that come in, they badge in the morning, they have some meetings till lunch, and after lunch they badge out and go home, do the rest of the work remotely from home.
Yeah.
So basically they tick the boxes. They were in the office that day.
They work to compliance.
But still, they kind of silently rebel against it because some part of their day is spent working remotely at home.
That's what I mean, like this is an internal or a rebel, but it's also natural because they haven't decided it. It was imposed.
Yeah.
It was imposed on them, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it makes sense to, you know it as well as a person yourself, to change of tapestry, like we say in German, like we change the wallpaper, get out sometimes, especially when we talk about these workshops, like 2 days workshops or something. Our experience is good that we bring people out of the context, not do it in the office. Sometimes it's good to do it in the office when you talk about issues in the office, but for example for a retreat or for a workshop, bring them out of the office, right? Yeah,
get them away from the other 99 distractions that they have on their mind, and people coming by, and what I can't understand, then you have 2 days with your team offsite, and still some people think it's higher priority that they have 1 or 2 calls in between.
Yes.
How can that be higher priority?
Yeah. But I experience this a lot, and it's the business phenomenon that I'm only important if I'm busy sometimes. And I know this with you as a friend. We know that time is the most valuable thing I can give to someone, right? And it's also a form of respect. And of course, sometimes there can be an urgent matter, but what we do as a preparation for the events, and I just did it a couple of weeks ago, is that we send out to the people in advance, prepare your team that you will be away for 2 days. If there's really something urgent, give them an opportunity to reach you. But in the best case, they should drive with the car there and stand in the room and say there's something urgent, because the hurdle should be very, very up to interrupt, right? And also you have as a problem, in my opinion, but that's just my personal opinion, you have a problem if your team cannot work 2 days without your input.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the things, but it's about communication standards, which we maybe talk about in another episode of this. But when we talk about offsite events and people say, oh, you're going on a retreat, you're doing some team building, what are you doing? Did you do some trust falling, or what did you do? And we talked a lot about this because we have this in our portfolio, but you offered me a super nice explanation about what team building not is. Can you tell us again what team building not is? Or what is not?
So in the past, you were part of that team as well. It was in another company.
Yes.
We went and did canyoning with the team.
Well, you almost drowned. Let's people say this was not designed for you, and I was responsible for this. I'm sorry about that.
It was not a nice event, so to say. But basically, what it did is it brought us out of our offices, of our day jobs, and we went and did something which included climbing, going through a river, and forming a team as part of in the canyon.
Yes.
But basically, once you removed the players from the play, you created a different play with it. So what I want to say is, what we were training to do there was being a great team when we go through canyons, instead of working on being a great team on our day job and on the challenges that we face on a daily basis.
Exactly.
So if you want to have a strong team, make sure that you train them in the real game.
Yeah.
Give them time to work on their most pressing problems instead of putting them in an artificial context.
Yes. Real life scenarios. Take some time to understand the problems, right? That's what we do. Sometimes as a facilitator, I feel, do I give them enough time? But then I see the energy building in the room, and I feel that they're really working on the topic which is super important for them right now. And they have conversations, they have conflict, and they start to build this level of trust by sharing, right? And obviously you create this environment and you say, whatever you say in this room will stay in this room. You have some ground rules, etc., right? And you see, it's almost fascinating, and the people are opening up like flowers, not all of them in the same speed, but they're opening up and they're sharing their results. But it's not about having a trust fall or going, as you said, to canyoning, which I like the event, but it's something you can do as an add-on, but you should not label it as a trust building. You should not label it as a team building. Yeah. It is not a team building event. It's a fun event to just get to know each other. Yeah. Maybe it's better to say get to know each other event.
Yeah, and you can do this absolutely just for fun, but don't be fooled into thinking that this is making you more efficient or more prepared to be adaptable to whichever challenges are coming your way.
Yeah. And this is why I think we use the word mentoring a lot, or I use the word mentoring a lot, because when we work with the teams, we take the real life problems, we do these 2 days workshops, and then we accompany them throughout a certain period, and they will always bring up these real life conflicts. That's what I love about this, is that you will always almost experience the real life conflicts, and you will see where the trust is broken or trust can be built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that these wrong ideas of team building, I mean, they come from the military, right? Mm-hmm. Where of course we see that soldiers, they need to be really tight units. They need to trust each other completely.
Very good point.
And I mean, a soldier's day job is characterized by strong actions with the body and being strong and being in really challenging environments, also physically.
Yeah.
But the people that we are working with, knowledge workers, I mean, we are not really doing that on a daily basis. So this is not what builds trust then for company. Yeah, it's for the military. It works very well and it's proven there, but not in a company.
It's also very visual. So if you see it, you think, oh, this is a very great unit. They crawl through mud, they climb on stuff, they're very strong. But as you say, we have different objectives. We need to think, we need to activate our brains. We need to have good emotional conversations, and that you don't learn by climbing a tree.
Exactly.
I like this. I like that we put this myth away a little bit. So what you're saying is trust is a process. It's a process of being consistent in your behavior. It's being consistent in what. First of all, you need to know yourself. Who are you, right? What are my values? And communication needs to be consistent. You are delivering value, you're delivering results to your clients, for example, and if they are delivered at the same or even better quality at the time you promised, over time you build trust.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges that most companies face today is it's not even productivity per se, but it's adaptability. That's what's at the forefront. So they need more innovation. They need better ideas, they need fresh ideas, and they need not only the ideas, but to get them on the ground and up and running.
Yes.
So basically what I want to say is you need every brain in your company, not just the few of the management. It's not good enough anymore. You need to be agile, and to be agile you need fresh ideas, and for that you need brains, and you need all the brains that you can get.
And also, if we could not use the word innovation, because innovation creates a lot of tension. It's like, oh, we need to bring out the new iPhone in the next couple of weeks or whatever, like the equivalent to a new iPhone. If we cannot use the word innovation, I think we can use the word creativity. So we give the teams the space for creativity. And then, as you say, the second part is we're not operating in silos. We're operating in an ecosystem of a company. So we have to bring it to the ground. We have to talk to the right people. Right? And this has to be understood, because otherwise frustration builds up that these ideas are not implemented. But just if you say it, you're dropping the pen, put the pen on the floor, but someone has to pick up the pen and has to show this pen to a few people and say, this is my idea, what do you think? This is my idea, what do you think? This is my idea, what do you think? And then you start acting like a company. You do a business case, you create a project, etc. Right? So we don't have this illusion that we can create every idea, but what you're saying is we need to give people the space, and we activate the brain power of everyone in the room, so the ideas flow first before we even think about implementation.
Yes, exactly. I think the how do we say? What's interesting is then how you combine this, because you can have one team that's excellent, but one team is normally not your entire company.
No.
How do you then connect to other teams? And how do you create or use the environment and make ideas or projects float and come to fruition through it?
Yeah.
And that's also where trust is the enabler.
Okay.
Because if you go from person to person and on a trusted relationship base, you are oftentimes so much faster as if you would go the normal process that was instated and fill a form, hope for a board to get together,
basically
and
front stage
decide
processes
over it. So, trust is also an enabler of speed.
Yes, that's why I love Speed of Trust from Stephen Covey. One of my favorite books. Like, the word speed of trust. We're increasing our speed by trust. It will take us time to build the trust, but once we've built the trust, and when we start in a level of trust, then we will be faster, and it will be easier for us. It will feel more natural. That's the other point, right? We don't have to force ourselves to do it. It will feel good. It will feel good to share what we're thinking. We will give the results, etc. So, trust is good. Can we close with this? Trust is good.
Yeah, I think so. But not that we sound like the trust evangelists. Let's come back to what we said in the beginning. So, it's not blind trust, but it's awareness and an aware trust. That we're advocating for. That's
a good one. Yeah. Thank you, Karen, for our episode around trust. Thank
you, Stefan.
I think we will talk more about trust in the next couple of weeks, months, years to come. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to each other soon. Thank you guys for listening.
And thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. That's it for this episode of The Workplace Shift. If you are ready to turn strategy into action and build high-trust, high-impact teams, we got something for you. Check out our team retreats waitlist on twostep.com. See you next time!